Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to be playing Boros Convoke, and there is a primary reason we're playing it today. So before you click off, you're like, oh no, I don't want to see this deck. I get it, but just hear me out for a second, please, if you would. The main thing I'm going to actually talk about is this deck in terms of rotating, in terms of Bloom Burrow being released, and obviously that rotation comes up. Quite scary for a lot of players, but what's our problem here? This deck is still going to be around, so if you've thought about playing it, maybe you would feel comfortable crafting it. And why will still be around? Well, we're only losing Inganjo, Sokuzan, which every deck is losing, and we're losing Sundown Pass, which we play one of anyway. We do not care if we lose this. We'll just play a fourth Cavern, but these we can just play more basics. Plus Bloom Burrow could obviously give us another land that maybe replaces these, or maybe we get Shocklands back, who really knows. But other than that, we lose Epicure, and that is it. This is the only creature that drops out of our deck post-rotation. As scary as that sounds, when I figured that out earlier today, I was very upset as a primary Boros Convoke hater, myself included. But we're going to play it today, see how strong it is, and kind of identify what hands are good with this deck, and especially how strong it's going to be post-rotation with... If it's good against the amount of decks out there right now that have access to all these cards, how much better is it going to be when all these decks lose a lot of their card and the mana starts getting a little bit sloppy whenever the bigger decks are losing all their untapped lands, because we benefit from our opponent playing lands tapped. And if they have to play something like an Inspiring Vantage, a fast land if you would, and on turn like 4 or something, and they don't get to hit that to populate on us, how much more devastating can our deck be on those turns? So outside of that, we're going to go ahead and just hop right into the game. It's typical Boros gameplay. If you have played any ranked at all, you've ran into the deck, you should pretty much know what the strategy is. If not, the video gameplay will tell you all you need to know, that's for sure. So outside of that, let's go ahead and hop into the games. If you all enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. I truly appreciate it, and let's just get out there and game. Correct. Oh man, sometimes it's just like, look at your hand, you're like, wow. I'm on the play, by the way. But we got a Boros gamer ourselves. Nice. He did play the better creature of the two of us, if I had to say so myself. Now I play this, and then if I hit a land, I can play this and play this. We'll see. No attack. We'll pass. No reason to get too crazy here. Will they make a token in Gleeful Demolition or something? No, because they have to use a red on that. Honestly, now that I said that out loud, maybe that's a reason I should have played the Epicure first, I suppose. Because that idea is just kind of rang true to my head. That I probably should have done that the opposite way. But here we go. We fire this off. Inspiring Vantage, actually a huge pickup here. I'm gonna Epicure, and I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Obviously I could play this Knight, but I'd much rather gun this down. That's quite a phrase, if you would. And then get this to kind of trigger, so my creatures are already attacking bigger, and then we have an Imadanes, which is going to come in and strike for a ton. Potentially, if we want it to. Or we can even Knight here and then go about our plan that way. Which with that play, I might have to. Because like, do I really want to barrel into this? I'm not entirely sure. War Leader's Call is so sick here, I think, though. Because they block one creature and then I do a ton of damage here. So sure, I guess. Like, if they block too much, then the Bunnycorn will die regardless. So if they double block somewhere else, the Bunnycorn will die. Whether they're thinking about that or not. You just block like that. They take 7. Am I dead? I could be. Creature plus Imadanes could be lethal. Yeah. War Leader's Call. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Did you even do the math? You know that you pretty much had it. Curious. They're at 7. Let's ask me. Yeah, it will. Taking the shot. Yep. Seems about right. We are in a weird spot where, like, we are fine as long as we are able to block this for the most part. Not necessarily just dead on board. And with my war leader's call and theirs, I can potentially go for the ping option of just pinging them down and winning that way. We have Inspector blocking the Bunny Corn. We have Knight Errant blocking one of these smaller creatures, or an Imadanes if that comes in. And then we end up taking, that's 10 plus 5. So it would take 15 plus 1 off of Imadanes. Get the war leader call. Interesting. If they set up with the Knight this turn, doing it for 5, and they don't find a lot of action, then we win. Kind of by default. It looks like they're going for Knight for 5. Maybe 3. I would see 4 if you're trying to do an Imadane situation, but they Knight for 3. Okay, that makes sense to me. I'll take 1 ping, and a Knight will trigger. Will you find more creatures than I? They have 4 blockers. They find more creatures than I. And 1 pretty solid at that. The 1 creature of mine will make contact here, potentially. My turn. They have 5 blockers. I have 6 attackers, and 1 hit is lethal, so I win here, right? This will enter. They'll get pinged for 1, and then they'll have, my board will get buffed, and then they'll have 5 blockers, and 1 creature will slip through the net, hitting for exactly 4 here. I know. Good game. Unless they have removal. Nope. They know the math works out. Very cool. I think there was a really good chance that they should have attacked out the turn before, but maybe they felt they were too vulnerable. I'm not sure if they didn't do the math or what, but quick count, I think it would have set me to 1, which obviously, like, is what it is. But whenever you play a war leader's call the following turn, but right now I don't remember what my hand was, so if they died, like, obviously it was just smart not to attack. Nothing like a patch, man. Nothing like a patch to crash my game as soon as we start. Yeah, hand sick. We'll keep. And on the play, you know, typical Boros Convoke fashion. And I mean, we're just creature, focus on reinforcement. Depending on what my opponent's playing, will depend whether I play this turn 1 rogue. So this is Orzhov. The Orzhov tap sack deck nonsense, right? Slash discard. Alright. Well, let's look here. I actually want to scry here, in my opinion. I changed my plan a little, but now I have Epicure plus Gleeful plus Knight. Sure. Seems fine to me. Fairy cannot bounce the other fairy. And they attack? I was like, okay, boss. That's fine. Now, this matchup, I think I don't have to worry about cards like Path of Peril and stuff like that. I could have to, but I don't think I have to. Does this work if I think it does. Tap, tap, and tap. Scry and Knight after Gleeful Demolitioning this. Yeah. We put the land on the bottom so our Knight has more options to hit. Then we pop this. Then we... I guess we go ahead and just do it for 5, maybe? Yeah, we do it for 5. If I find a 1-drop, I'd like to play it and just go all in here. I think we did it for 5 because we would have missed at least one of the options. Hopeless Nightmare. Honestly, I'll just discard a Knight. If this is another one, then I will... The rest does not hit. And then we have Imadanes to do all the dirty nonsense that we needed to do. And I assume we're striking for lethal, but I have no idea. And just like that, we do the thing that Boros does best and just go all in. As you can see, I don't know what rank I am. The game crashed loading into the game because we got an update, and every update makes the client somehow worse, but better at the same time. I don't know. It's very weird. Sure, I guess. We're going first a ton. Not sure what I did. Maybe it's because I did submit Boros, and by law, I have to go first. Yep. Warden. Then I'll probably reinforcement, scry, play the War Leader's Call, attack. If Warden stays around. First card is probably Get Lost. I'll just let it go. This one. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Actually, here comes the call. I kind of want to keep the Cavern because if they play Pixie, pick up Nightmare, do the thing to make me discard again, Cavern's going to be nice. And it's very possible that that's the play here. So I'm actually going to keep on top. Because then if they do the Nightmare plan, I'm getting rid of the Sundown Pass. This is such a meta call. Or such a call on this play. We fall a little, but it's fine. Something in my eye. Very sick. I'm not upset with the call, but it does suck a little. They keep one on top and go on the bottom. This could still be another Nightmare or something, and I'd be happy I have the land. Detective? What would you like to look at? I have nothing. What do we have? I guess. One, I guess.
Off you go.
Oh, do I knight for 1? I guess if I do this, it's probably... No, because then literally pluses and I lose. Well, I guess I don't lose it if... Oh man, I don't like this game plan at all. 2 1-drops, please. We're nuts. So now I can discard an Inspector to Liliana on a plus. If they even decide to plus. No, they will. It only triggers the Inspector once, so I'm gonna let the other Inspector go. Clean. Clean, clean, clean. Face, face, face. Interesting. Here and here. You decide. I'm not going to find lethal, and they're going to be forced to block anyway. Wow, they keep Liliana over protecting their life total, going to 1 with 2 War Leaders calls in play. Interesting. Interesting indeed.
The others can deal.
Sure.
No fun when I've always hated crowds.
I can't say I agree entirely. But things happen. What do we got, opponent? We have removal for my Knight Errant. We do, technically. We have a Rite of Oblivion, sacrificing the thing and exiling my Knight Errant. I believe. Here comes Pixie. They're building a wall here. Guess what you can't use? Jeez. Very cool. Oh, wow. Okay. This one. Wow. And this is what it feels like to play Boros, huh? Just look at them and be like, hey. Yeah. they tap their land for a mana and lose that way. Very cool. That's funny. Typical, honestly. Why let your opponent win when you can lose yourself, you know? Very sick. Very sick. Ooh. Hand's gross. We're going to have to throw it back. Ace is doing a little less than good with his hand, I think. No turn one, especially with Gleeful Demolition. I think I let it go. His hand seems to be much better. I think with this hand, we just throw the land back. Is it mono red? The thing we kept to get lost, I suppose. Play Inspector. They can play with fire, obviously. I just heard her. I don't know what they call it. But she was back there going to work. I know that much. Sure. What are the odds I'm dead here? Could be high. Could be lower than I guarantee. I think that's enough. I don't want them drawing cards. And they use their green mana already, so sure. Let's just pop this thing out of the way. Nice. No threats. That was kind of the other hope. Now we load up on the board. Nice. These things. I'll let that go, I think. This matchup, I think we're all about speed. And I think finding another thing that makes a creature or like getting a better chance at Gleeful Demolition is just way better. Sure. No pumps here. Case is like fine. Has to tap to be sacked. I think Case might be the worst play though. Wow. Or maybe it's the best play. I really don't know. I guess I want to find out the information first. Epicure on top. Maybe? I guess it gives me a play and a night play. Sure. Such a weird spot to be in. I'll shoot one of these down. I'll attack. If they find lethal from here with a 1/1 that doesn't have double strike or anything like that, then sure, I suppose. Ruckus on top. There's a snap keep. Or no, they were deciding still. The counter just went on. I thought they snap kept that on top. I was like, oh, yeah, fair enough. Mono. Kind of equally as bad. Especially if they don't have a threat. Maybe they'll keep it because of that. Sure. If you're wondering why they're main phasing things, it's because Picnic Ruiners probably conditioned them to do so. Just how that one works. We'll do this. We'll ping. Tap these to scry. This thing will have vigilance. A Case on top. Am I wanting to play knight here? I think the answer is yes. So case goes. We move to combat. We hit for 4. Could argue we attack out, but like then I don't get to play the knight down here. We play knight. Maybe it'll hit, maybe it'll miss. It kind of hits. A little sad, but is what it is. If we do find a land, we're looking pretty good. Mono. Left that on top, I believe. Yeah. Am I dead? Maybe. Saw a block. I was. Why did we do that? There's like no way. That's just criminal. What did we do that for? Bottom? I think this works out. Yeah. Maybe they felt the game was just over anyway? I'm unsure. But either way, I'm kind of surprised we won that game. I was kind of in the spot of like, yeah, if they monster trade this and then give it like, if they twin Inferno'd it and gave it double strike, I was like, wow, I lose, which is fine, I guess. But then it was just 2 more monsters rages, which were only +2 O's. So it was really weird. I mean, I guess I can just play Sundown Pass and like not do anything turn 1. I guess I get a draw, so it's kind of hard to. I mean, I'm keeping regardless, but I can play like an Epicure and then the Warden on turn 2. Ooh, well, okay. Now I'm conflicted, but what a draw, by the way. I still think I'm gonna just play out my turns while I can, because it looks like it's gonna be mono green Stompy potentially, or Gruul Stompy. Ooh, that deck. We gotta be fast. We gotta be furious. We gotta be really upset. They obviously get a clean block here, so I'm just gonna reinforcements and then scry. Frontliner. Frontliner I'm fine with, because that gives me 3 plays here. Oh, it's like you probably play a War Leader's Call. Sure. That's fine, I guess. But I feel like the play should be play War Leader's Call and then pump out everything I can. Well, no. Because I won't be able to Gleeful Demolition. Well, I guess I can, because I can always Gleeful Demolition the frontliner, right? I can just do that now, or I can just wait. Is more threats better here or worse? Or making like attacks that actually make sense make more sense? I think this is better. I don't really lose value when putting my creatures in play. Block. Sure. A case would have been nice at some point, because then maybe I could have played another creature and then just case this down so they don't get the sack outlet. But if they play another tap land, not a big deal. Just like that. Do you think my plan is to frontliner and do my nonsense that I can? Ill-Time Explosion in the yard. I have to assume they have one in hand. That card not necessarily what I want right now. Lose so much tempo on this play though. I think I play reinforcements, double thing them regardless. Then I play the Epicure. And then that's just a pure double thing. And then most likely they could argue to double block, but I think I have to do this. Do double block 1. So they still end up taking 2. Which is fine by me. Now, what will we see happen here? Will we see a analyst sacrificed? Will we see an ill-time explosion? Will we see a World Soul Rage for 2? And then keeping these around so they can actually be good, kind of. In terms of like just as blockers in general. But they also get to gain a ton of life here, so it's not like they don't get their value, I guess, to say, at the least. Let's play frontliner. I'm just going to go ahead and probably Gleeful Demolition the frontliner. Or I guess that shouldn't, because it loses to Fires of Victory, right? You could just pop this one. Go this route. I think here, even though they can double block again, the idea should be to attack with as much as I can. Most likely there'll be a block on one, block on another, than a sack. I can't imagine they double block. I mean, they can. Doesn't really matter, right? But this block tells me that ill-time explosion isn't in hand. I feel like you would just try to minimize as much damage as possible while you can. And now they're going to gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or they'll gain 4 life here. I mean, I could have waited. They go to 9. Sure. They have it locked up this turn. I do know that much. And before we could think like, oh, Imodanes would have been lethal. They could have gained life at any point, but also you got to remember War Leader's call, ping them for a ton. So it's not like it was just right there for us. You rip an ill-time explosion. You have a Nissa. Am I going to get quadruple cycled on? What's the plan here? Memory Deluge. Looking for an ill-time, I have to imagine. No snap pick, so maybe not. Did well at grabbing the correct mana, I think. Alright, 2 picks. Is ill-time one of them? Brotherhood Inn could be one too, but they don't really play that one. They want ill-time to draw cards. What is it, dog? Backland. Did you notice, by the way, earlier, one of those came into play tapped? Not entirely sure why. You saw that it came in untapped and sacrificed itself immediately, but I think earlier one of them. Oh, was it Echoing Deeps? I think it was Echoing Deeps. That's why. Weird thing that I saw, and I was like, I don't know why it's tapped. It's not that big of a deal. They pass here. I'm gonna play the recruiter. Sure. Yeah, I mean, welcome to Diamond, I guess. I don't feel like this thing about this deck. I don't feel like I made a whole lot of hard decisions. I just kind of. I think it was like one game where it felt nice, like the decisions I was making, but this one I was kind of like playing my stuff out and hope they don't ill-time me. I guess like it's a little weird, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna end the video here with a little outro. As you might have been able to tell by probably my last 2 games, I wasn't quite feeling great. I did some lifting and I played some basketball today, and I don't know if it's whether I'm really tired, which might be the case, or what, but I definitely am a little out of it, so I'm just going to call it there, even though it will make the video a little bit shorter. But regardless, Boros is Boros, and here is the big kicker of the deck. And I know some people are going to be upset about this, but Voldarian Epicure, Sundown Pass, and Ganjo, Tokazan are the only things leaving this deck. I know, it breaks my heart too. But you might be like, well, Brick, the Epicure gone. The blood token's not there for Gleeful Demolition. We just load up on frontliners. Or if they give us another artifact, we can just play those too. You could argue like even Candy Trail's fine. Obviously, Epicure is like really good for this deck list. But with mono red losing a lot of pieces, I think most mono red players will end up picking up this deck for the most part. And we just know that all these creatures right here and spells are just going to be around still, and they're still just going to be good. So, as frustrating as that might sound, the deck's not going anywhere with Blue and Burrow. Unlike red getting a lot of hits, we are going to be in trouble from this deck, so I end up playing it. But outside of that, I don't think there's a whole lot more to say. I mean, you want to have Warden come in probably on turn 2 along with a Gleeful Demolition. So idealistically, your turn is turn 1 Inspector or Epicure or even Frontliner if you want it to be, because that would be fine, but you really want it to be one of the other two. But we want to do that, then we want to play Warden, we want to Scry, and then we want to Gleeful Demolition pop the token that either of them made, and then Scry again, putting 2 counters immediately on our Warden, building a massive board. So our Warden's now a 3/4, and then we have an Inspector or a Epicure, and then 4 other 1/1 dorks. And on turn 3, a lot of things can happen. You can either early Immodane's Recruiter if you have the option to kind of go all in. Say your opponent plays like a tap land or something, and we move into turn 3 on the play. Immodane might be absolutely devastating in terms of chipping it all the way out. I like if the option's there to play War Leader's Call instead, because War Leader's Call will give you just as much damage as Immodane's, but also give you that ping factor that's so good post maybe a board wipe after that turn. Because obviously Immodane there is not going to quite be lethal, although it'll be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's a lot of damage, but War Leader's Call essentially does the same -3. But later, if we flash in reinforcements or play an Epicure, it pings for 2, reinforcements pings for 2, and now every creature just becomes a looming threat, and the Immodanes can always come in following a board wipe, ping for 1, and hit for a total of 4, and it kind of catches itself back up. Outside of that, we would like to knight early if possible, especially if we know the matchup right off the rip, and they're a little bit slower than knighting and taking 1 turn off to build up our board even bigger. It is definitely worth it. So, other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.